Okay, good morning. Deirdre, thank you. We'll stick with Moltbook and what it could tell us about the security and privacy risks around AI chatbots. Here with us now is SandboxAQ CEO Jack Hidary. It's great to have you in person.
Good to see you, Sarah. Good to see you, Carl.
Do we really need a social media network for AI agents?
Well, ultimately, I think it's a good marketing tool for the Molt folks. So I think it was a smart move. As of a few minutes ago, there were 114,000 posts on Moltbook, just posted in the last week. So I think it's a fun thing. It's titillating. It's a fun thing to talk about. But the serious topic really here is agents themselves. And so you look at OpenClaw, that's really ignited a spark. There's 100,000 downloads from GitHub of OpenClaw, which is the open source agent platform that is behind this. That's really the serious part. Two aspects to it. One is a warning, which is that the cybersecurity of this OpenClaw is not existent, right? And that's already been discussed a bit online, but not really in the mainstream media yet. And so highlighting that if you use OpenClaw as an agent platform, you're in an unsecured territory. It's going to do things that are not within the firewall of what you are normally expecting. But on the upside, on the positive side, I think it does help move the conversation from large language models getting even larger to now moving to agent work. And that's really where I think we're going to see the big impact in business of language models rather than just putting in prompts and finding funny stories.
Where agents do talk to each other, maybe not on a social media platform.
That's right, but more in a B2B sense. Yes, right. Exactly, yeah, in a controlled, secure sense. So, beyond OpenClaw, there's Agentforce from Salesforce. Gemini has one. OpenAI, Anthropic has a great agentic platform. Those are going to be the very serious platforms. And I do encourage people, if you have a completely separate standalone server that's not connected to anything else in your life, and you want to download OpenClaw, that's cool. But do not let it in to the four walls of premises of your business.
So because of cyber risk.
Because of cyber risk. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But again, positive news. The agent world is here. I think it's going to be a big story in 2026. We kicked off that story just in Davos just now. Yeah. And I think they're going to do real work that will create efficiencies and productivity. But it's going to be, generally speaking, on the big platforms, with OpenClaw being a really cool open source alternative for small businesses and individuals.
If we have enough, I guess, energy, power to create it, right?
Exactly right. So, 24, 25 was huge in terms of new data centers. And I think we still need some more data centers. But the big story is we need more power to power not only data centers, but also start to bring electricity costs down. We cannot grow as a country and still have high electricity prices. And so natural gas is going to be a really big story this year. Qatar, one of the largest producers today of natural gas, is expecting an increase already from its current rate, and United States of America, already one of the largest investors and producers of natural gas, will continue there. In addition, of course, we have other players coming to market. So with an abundance of natural gas, I'm expecting natural gas to start to really crowd out coal. Coal still forms about 28% of energy makeup in the United States. And I think natural gas will start to really crowd it out, with a rise in nuclear taking a little longer, more in the 5 to 6 year time frame.
Yeah, nuclear is a longer-term story. That's extreme.
Right. But natural gas right now. Yeah.
Right. Are we going to get enough chip efficiency to where these energy demands maybe look too high than they really will be?
Well, I think chip efficiency is one area, Carl, but also algorithmic efficiency. What you find in every wave and revolution in tech is that you first start with a brute force idea, and it takes huge amounts of power and compute to make it happen. But over time, I think this year, next year, you're going to start seeing language models that are made more efficiently, not the same way it was made last year or the year before. That's also going to lead to leveling off of some of the needs that we have.
And will those be American or Chinese?
That's a great question. The U.S. right now has a little bit of an edge, but I think it's very clear that China is intent on this. If you look at the most recent Alibaba Qwen platform, if you look at DeepSeek, and what China has an advantage on is adoption. So they're charging 80% less for their enterprise versions, and they're open sourcing the base version. That means, and that's why they have the most adoption today across Africa, across Southeast Asia, across Latin America, and even in the United States, there is quite a bit of adoption of Chinese models. So while U.S. has a bit of a lead on the technology edge of the large language models, you do have to look at China for the adoption edge right now.
And finally, we talk a lot about the trends in your world, but in your own business, too. You've just launched this new interesting open source
AQ Affinity, that's right.
Drug discovery, which is, it's promising, but we haven't really seen, have we seen an AI developed drug yet?
Well, what we're seeing right now is we're seeing AI help all along the process, right? So if you have a clinical trial and you have a drug in a clinical trial and it's hitting some snag, such as a side effect, already AI has been helpful today, and we have done that with various customers of ours in the drug world, helping them to unstick that particular medicine and identify why some people are getting that side effect, and then to get them out of the cohort so the drug can move on. That's already happening today in the real world. And certainly it's going to help in the discovery side too. AQ Affinity, which we just announced with our partners Nvidia and many others, really will help to scale this because we put out the base version as open source, meaning that we now are democratizing the ability for people to get new medicines out there.
That sounds good. Jack, thank you for the update.
Great to be with you both.
We need an hour with you. Jack Hidary from SandboxAQ.